Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming today. I am Councillor Allie Brown. I represent District 5, which is the furthest northeast corner of the city, so Lawrence, Oak Landing, and Geist. I am so excited to be here with you today. So back in October of 2019, my husband and I got a call confirming what we already knew. Riley Behavioral called us to tell us that our son was on the autism spectrum. My son Dylan, he'll be 4 in January. And you know, we already knew. My husband and I knew since he was 6 months old that there was something different about him. But having that diagnosis finally gave us an option and ways that we can work with him. But what it also did is, well, to be honest with you, I started crying. Not because anything is different about the little boy the day before and the day after that diagnosis, but because I know how cruel the world is to people who are different. And I became, I mourned a little bit. I mourned a little bit for how easy life should be for my son because he deserves that just like everybody else. And after I came out of that, I decided that I was going to do everything possible to make the world better for Dylan. About a month later, I was elected to the Indy Council. I'm so proud to be here because now not only do I get to make the world better for Dylan, I get to make the world better for everyone on the spectrum. About 2% of Indy's population is on the spectrum. And it's very important that we are, as an inclusive, welcoming city, that we do everything we can to make sure that people on the spectrum have access to all the opportunities that the rest of us have. So I'm going to introduce Mayor Hogsett, and then I'll be up to talk more about what exactly the Indy Autism Project is. So Mayor Hogsett, come on.
Well, thank you, Councillor Brown, and thank you all for joining us today in support of this effort. Since the 1840s, when schools for the blind and for the deaf were founded here in Indianapolis, our city has been a trailblazer when it comes to accessibility. Certification under the Autism Project will allow Indianapolis to extend that tradition to residents and visitors with autism spectrum disorder, as well as their families and their caretakers. As Councillor Brown outlined, and will continue to advocate, the Indianapolis Autism Project enables our city to welcome residents and visitors in a way that is more thoughtful, more humane, more appropriate. We can look to other examples where a more focused approach led to better outcomes for residents. After IMPD, as an example, launched the MCAT program in 2017, arrest rates fell dramatically for police interactions with those experiencing a mental health crisis. In 2020, many of us gained a new appreciation for the services provided by our parks, our libraries, and the great work done by men and women who are first responders. These are the agencies that provide the fundamental services of any city: protection, education, recreation. Every resident has a right to those things. And the Indianapolis Autism Project will make sure those with ASD can benefit from them more than ever before. The Mayor's office fully supports this effort. In addition, with 100% of funding coming from donations, this program has the potential to improve our city exponentially at no cost during a time of financial uncertainty for local units of government. So let me thank, in conclusion, Councillor Brown for spearheading this initiative. The City of Indianapolis stands proudly with all of today's partners to make our home a better place for residents with ASD to live, to work, and to play. I thank you.
So I'm very excited to introduce to you the Indianapolis Autism Project. Our goal is to make Indianapolis the safest place for someone on the spectrum to live, work, and visit. This is an ongoing project. It doesn't have a hard end, but now is the time to start. We're going to first focus on 5 pillars: public safety, workforce development, parks and rec, transit, and travel and tourism. And we have great representatives from every one of those pillars here today. I have to compliment everyone on this stage, because when I came to them with the idea, their answer was yes, and what else? What else can we do to make Indianapolis better for our residents who are neurodiverse and who are on the spectrum? I look at this project as a way to lead with kindness, and that's who our city is. We are a kind city who gives grace, and that's what this does, is we look at people and celebrate the differences. It is only through people who see the world differently that great change happens. We have an amazing resource in our city, and they should be able to thrive. So I'm so excited to be able to introduce to you our first speaker, Todd Root. He is the Director of Strategic Development for the Autism Society of Indiana. Todd?
I'm going to read mine sometimes. All right. I'd like to thank everybody from City Councillor to the Mayor Hogsett for having introduced me and to be here in front of all of you. My fervent hope is that this idea, this step forward, shines a bright light on Indianapolis and Indiana and our community as a whole, a community represented by all of its parts. The Autism Society of Indiana is excited for the opportunity of the Autism Project and how it presents to make Indianapolis not the great city it already is, but even a greater city. And to create a positive engagement and set of procedures and policies between all first responders and persons affected by autism spectrum disorder. This step will also go far in creating opportunity for understanding for jobs, transportation, community events, interactions with city employees, and sensory-friendly parks. This all begins with openness to difference, not openness to difficult in time, effort, and dollar, openness in welcoming a significant part of the community to feel safe, to grasp opportunity, and to feel belonging. Sometimes the world and its output is just too fast to process and take in. Sometimes the environment is crowded and it can feel like there is just no room. And sometimes things just feel too loud and overwhelming when they might not feel that way to others. It is a completely subjective opinion whether any one of us in this world is thriving or functioning at a level deemed typical or acceptable to others. Different is good. Different is innovative. The Autism Society of Indiana stands committed to continue to promote understanding, provide education, support and partner in Indiana for the autism community. ASI is committed to not only rolling up its own sleeves to pitch in, but to also pledge to contribute $10,000 to help kickstart this program. I leave you with these two thoughts. Let us never underestimate the perception or the perspective of any person affected by autism spectrum disorder, or any cognitive disorder at that. And let us not underestimate the perception of the world with what we are modeling here today. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. So as chief of police, I often get requests from people to seek an audience with me. Many times they're asking for things that they want the police department to participate in. I can't always say yes to all of those requests, but I do my best to try to at least hear them out. But when a council person calls you and says they want an audience, you perk up a little bit more. And you know there's going to be a request that comes in. You're a little bit hesitant of what that's going to be, but you know it's coming and you know you're going to have to give them that audience. So when I met with Councillor Brown and she started to explain what she was looking for, that she wanted the police department to join in with her on this Indy Autism Project, her passion and her emotion and the way she presented herself and her concerns and her desires were very difficult to resist. It didn't take very long for her to get into, it wasn't a speech, but her words for me to realize we got to get on board with this. This is a win-win, not only for the IMPD, but for the city. And what I didn't tell her at the time, or after our meeting was concluded, was I've had two opportunities to deal with two individuals that had autism. One when I was very young, and admittedly I didn't understand all what that meant at the time. But what I did notice was the family was very protective of this young man, but very encouraging. And unfortunately, I didn't get a whole lot of time to spend with him, but I knew there was something different, and not in a bad way, something in a very positive way. The second time actually came not so much with myself, but with my older son, who loved football. And I remember in elementary school and in middle school, he had the opportunity to play with another young man who was probably more higher functioning on the spectrum. But I noticed the same thing about that family. Very protective, very encouraging. But the difference this time is my son did better than me. He built a relationship with that young man, at least for the time that they played football. And I think actually my son and my family benefited from that relationship. I can honestly say we were richer because of that relationship. And football brought us all together, and he was a heck of a player, so we all got to celebrate his victories, and he was a well put together young man. And I believe we lost track of him after middle school, but I believe he went on to play, I know in high school, and I'm guessing probably even at the collegiate level. But what I noticed was this was something that there should never been a barrier in that. That should have been just a given. And fortunately for my son and myself, we were able to experience some great things. So when Councillor Brown is talking to me about doing all this, I remembered that. As we're always striving for the IMPD to be the best that it can be, this wasn't a difficult sell. This was something that our officers who are passionate about making sure that all of the community feels protected, feels like they're listened to, Those are the things that we strive for. This is another opportunity for that to happen. So you have the IMPD's full commitment to making this happen and all the training that will go along with it, because our desire is for all people, whether visiting Indianapolis or living here, feel like they've made the right choice by living here or visiting here. I'd like to introduce David Dreeth. He's the CEO of Easter Seals Crossroads. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Taylor. So Easter Seals Crossroads was founded in the 1930s by a group of people, young people, with disabilities and their families, because they were not included, but they wanted to contribute not only to Indianapolis, but the region. That's how our organization was founded. And today, we're supporting young men and women in jobs throughout the community, including those on the front lines of healthcare during this pandemic. So when Councilmember Brown approached us about not only being the fiscal agent, but helping us step up and make our autism services even have a broader reach in central Indiana, we were very much one of the yes, and what else can we do? We're so happy to be a part of this. When we say at Easter Seals that we're stronger together, we don't just mean that the community can get stronger together to support people with disabilities, with autism. What we really mean is our community is only at its best when it includes everybody. And those people that we have living amongst us with autism and neurodiversity really do make us stronger together. And so we're so happy to be a part of this project. I'm going to introduce now Linda Broadfoot from Indy Parks and Recreation to talk further.
Thank you, David. Good afternoon. I'm Linda Broadfoot. I am the director of Indy Parks, and I think, I'm echoing what everybody else up here is thinking and saying that, a lot of folks come to us in our jobs asking us for a lot of things, and even sometimes those folks are city councilors. But what an amazing connection to have a city councilor who's also a mom, who's also passionate about a cause, who made an incredible case for all of us to step up beside her. So I'm proud to be with you up here today, Councillor Brown. With 212 parks, 153 miles of trails, and more than 11,000 acres, our team at Indy Parks is known for creating places and experiences that inspire. We're also known for providing close to 400,000 free meals to youth, and for opening our parks and shelters during this pandemic, and for doing whatever it takes to help Indianapolis and the people who call it home to thrive. Parks are for everyone. We welcome and celebrate all Indianapolis residents and visitors. Through our inclusive programs and special events, our team currently creates opportunities for the autistic community and their families to explore parks inside and out. All of our new playgrounds, like those at the Commons on the east side, the Colts Canal Play Space, and Sandorf Parks, include auditory and tactile sensory play features for children on and off the spectrum. The city of Indianapolis and under the guidance of Tanya Jenkins, who oversees therapeutic recreation and outreach, our adaptive and inclusion programs have offered everything from karaoke at Brookside Park to dances at Riverside, adaptive boxing exercises, all sorts of virtual programs this year, of course, money management, meal preparation, music trivia, 3-in-1 weird science, and so much more. Another exciting program already in our catalog is our Camp Gather and Gather on the Move, our therapeutic recreation camp for youth ages 6 to 13 and for young adults ages 14 to 21. The camp provides a multi-sensory experience coupling recreational and arts-related activities with the development of life skills such as communication, teamwork, and other daily living skills. Camp Gather also allows youth to explore recreational and cultural activities in a supportive and caring environment that is designed to meet their needs. Rhodius Park also offers its beautifully designed sensory room, giving children and families an opportunity to play and relax in a safe environment. The sensory room serves the community and life skills classes at William Penn IPS School 49. The space is available for therapy sessions, daycares, birthday parties, and for individual use. Over the next year, our entire team will begin training to certify as a part of this program and will enhance the park staff's abilities and commitment to serve all residents of Indianapolis and their families and to continue to celebrate individuals of all abilities. I extend special thanks to my boss and our #1 park enthusiast, Mayor Hogsett. Thank you for always supporting our city's parks. Your commitment to our park visitors and staff is appreciated. And again, thank you to Councillor Brown for her vision to bring partners together to highlight our and everyone else's offerings today while reaffirming our commitment to help children, their families, and their communities. Together, we will continue to do great things for the people we serve. Thank you so much. It is now my pleasure to introduce my friend Cam Radford to provide remarks, who leads governmental affairs at Indigo.
Thank you, Linda. My name is Cameron Radford. I am Vice President of Government Affairs at Indigo. We're here today to affirm our commitment to this project that Councillor Brown has put together, and we thank her for including us. Indianapolis is a world-class city, and a world-class city deserves a world-class public transportation agency. But you can't get there if everybody cannot comfortably ride public transportation. We are 100% committed to this project through training our staff, through making sure that our facilities and our buses are welcoming for everyone, including people on the spectrum. There will be no barriers for those who are on the spectrum to riding public transportation in this city with the training and with the upgrades to our facilities and our coaches that we're going to be making. We have staff who have family members who are on the spectrum. And we want to ensure that we're doing everything that we possibly can to make sure that no matter where you live in this city, no matter what your abilities are, you will have a comfortable ride, a world-class ride, when you get on public transportation in the city of Indianapolis. So we are humbled to be a part of this, but we're also very, very excited to be able to be a part of this awesome team here. I think this is history. I think we're making history here, and we're really excited to make history. So again, thank you, Councillor Brown, Mayor Hogsett, all the partners who are here today to help make this happen. Next, I will be introducing Leonard Hoops, President and CEO of Visit Indy.
Well, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here today. Pleasure to be anywhere today. Thank you, Councillor Brown, for launching this important initiative. You know, several years ago, we launched Accessible Indy, which is basically a website within a website. It's the website within the Visit Indy website that helps people with accessibilities better explore our city and plan for their trips. Now, this site has won awards and been recognized both locally and nationally as one of the best sites of its kind and become something of a blueprint for others to follow. In fact, Mayor Hogsett gave us an award a few years ago. And we partnered with organizations like the Arc of Indiana and Bosma Enterprises, Tangram, About Special Kids, the city itself, the Autism Society of Indiana, and many others on developing our content. That site was really born out of my own personal experiences with our special needs son. My wife and I have a little boy. Actually, he probably doesn't appreciate that. He turned 16 on December 1st, so he's not that little anymore. But you know, if you're a parent, they're always your little boy or a little girl. But he has cerebral palsy, and he is not ambulatory. He gets around in a power chair. He doesn't articulate speech real well. His comprehension's very good. But as we planned our own trips in our own city, I realized that our own website that I was ultimately responsible for didn't provide me the kind of information that I would want, much less a visitor from out of town would want in trying to explore our city. And so that website came to be out of my own personal passion and the passion of our teammates, much as it has for Councillor Brown being the catalyst for this very important project. Now, in the process of developing that site, which took a good year to really develop the content we wanted to develop, I realized that most of our partners, whether it was attractions or hotels or restaurants, had very little information on enhancing their experiences for guests on the spectrum and making for a more autism-friendly visit. So we knew that ultimately there would need to be and should be a phase 2 to the Accessible Indy website. A phase 2 where we not only enhanced our site's spectrum-friendly content, but also helped our partners with training and potentially, hopefully, accreditation with the IBCCES, which is the governing body that Councillor Brown and we are working with on these initiatives. And so we're very excited. When Councillor Brown asked me about it, I told her my personal story. She told me hers. We have a lot in common in that way from different perspectives, but we were very excited to be able to work together on this. And the councillor told me that from our own research, as much as 75 or 80% of families with someone on the spectrum in their family don't take trips together because of the risks, the rigidity of somebody being in a new environment, the unfamiliarity, those sorts of things. And something as simple as a virtual tour on a website, for example, can help somebody get better acclimated and prepared for a trip. And so we're excited to work with you on these kinds of initiatives. So I think this opportunity, and I want to thank again Councillor Brown and Mayor Hogsett and the others for their leadership, is one more opportunity for us to demonstrate our Hoosier hospitality, our Hoosier hospitality, and a reminder that Indy welcomes all. With that, I would like to introduce Aaron Likens, the author of Finding Kansas, Living and Decoding Asperger's Syndrome.
Hello, yes, my name is Aaron Likens, author of Finding Kansas, and I have to say I never thought a day like this would come. I got diagnosed with Asperger's when I was 20, back in 2003, and awareness back then just wasn't what it could be. And this initiative here, I see it very much like back in 1909, Carl Fisher had a vision at 16th and Georgetown to put a 2.5-mile oval. Back then, what did people think about it? Don't know. Today, it's history. And that's how I see this. I've given over 1,000 presentations across the country, and the resounding thing I get from parents and even fifth graders when I talk at schools is, what's next? Okay, we've got some presentations in schools, some presentations to police officers, but where are we going? What is that next thing that's going to bring everything together? And when I heard about this, that's what this is. This is bringing every pillar of society to get on the same page. We do have autism awareness, yes, but this is going to bridge that gap to understanding. And my motto when I began speaking back in 2010 was, understanding is the foundation for hope. Growing up, I wanted to be a race car driver. That didn't happen. I'm still involved in motorsports. Got to be in the flag stand with IndyCar this season. And I want to use a flag metaphor because with this initiative, Councillor, you've really brought the green flag out on what's next. Will this, 100 years from now, what will this look like? Will this day be looked upon? Will other cities across the world take this initiative and mimic it? If so, just like that, what people said back in 1909, just on an empty plot of land west of here, that's what this could be. So the work I've done with Easter Seals has been amazing. The work that I think everybody up here is going to do, and the work that this is going to take the city so much farther for those with disabilities, for those on the autism spectrum. This is going to help everyone. So, Councillor, thank you.
Thank you, everybody who spoke. I apologize for being emotional. When it all comes down to it, I'm just a mom who has a soapbox, who just desperately wants her child to be able to succeed in life. So I'm just eternally grateful to everyone on the stage. I'm grateful for all of you giving up some time today to be here. I just wanted to cover a couple of things, and then any of the speakers and myself will be available. We have some socially distant spaces marked off if anyone would like to ask questions. So we're going to be utilizing IBCCES, which in your press packet there's a whole thing about it. But they're the International Board of Credentialing and Continuing Education Standards. They will be working with each industry, each group, on how to best certify their employees and become accredited. And when we do, we will become the second autism certified city in the country, second autism certified city in the world. But we're going, the first is Mesa, Arizona, and I encourage you to check them out. But we're going to go above and beyond what Mesa has done. We are also encouraging people on the spectrum and people who love people on the spectrum to go to IndyAutismProject.com. There's a page where you can fill out information about other things that you might see a need for in this city. I myself am just an ally. I am a mom to a 4-year-old boy on the spectrum. That's my extent of my knowledge on this. I've read, I've listened, I listened to Aaron, I listened to Todd, I listened to other people on the spectrum, but if there are things we are missing, this is not about me, this is about lifting things up for people on the spectrum, so please give your input. We also on that page have a donate button, because as the mayor said and David alluded to, we are going to be funding this completely through donations. And the Autism Society of Indiana is our first donor, and I'm so excited to have them on board. We do not want to make this cost anything to our city, cost anything to the groups who are standing up here. We're going to be fundraising and paying for that through donations. And all those donations are going to go to the Easter Seals. They are working as our fiduciary agent. So none of the money is coming to myself, none of the money is coming to the city. It'll be going to Easter Seals into a separate fund for the Indy Autism Project. So we'll be able to spend out of there. And when we're creating things such as nonverbal books, which we're going to arm all of our public safety, all of our officers with, so they can communicate better with people who are nonverbal, things like that will get double impact in the community, because we're going to ask Easter Seals to have some of their people to build these packets. So, and we will pay them a living wage to do this amazing work, but then we'll also be able to distribute these packets out to the community. So we're going to double our impact in the community. I'm just so grateful to have you all here, and I'm so grateful for everybody on this stage. This is big, and I really think that we can succeed as a city by doing this. So to leave you with just a quote from one of my absolute favorite people. Mr. Rogers said there are 3 secrets to success. The first is to be kind, the second is to be kind, and the third is to be kind. And that's what we're doing here with Indianapolis, is we're highlighting how kind we are. We're leading with that kindness, and we're giving each other a little more grace. So thank you all so much for coming. And like I said, if you have any questions for individual speakers, we have Drew can help you out here on the side, or we can come to you. Thank you all so much.